I'm Janet. Today we're going to be working with some products from Sizzix Studio, and this is designed by Kat Kerr. So I have a couple of stencils out, and then I have the stamps that come with it. And so this is to work on their multimedia mat, which we'll get to probably. But I'm going to first start with some watercolor paper, some gelatos, and the stencils. So I thought we would work on watercolor paper because it can take a lot of moisture. And for this process, I think we're going to want to do that. So I have a wet baby wipe here, and I'm just going to start with my stencil and my gelatos. Now, I'm just going to scribble on the stencil itself, not on the watercolor paper. And the reason I'm doing that is I want to then now blend this into the stencil. You can use a brush, you can use a dauber. Let's start with the brush and see how well that travels. And I suppose if we were on the multimedia mat, it would work well because it would hold everything in place for us because it has a sticky grid on it. But I was afraid that we might get into working with some moisture, and I didn't want to get that on the tool. So, all right, so there, beautiful stenciling. So we're going to add layers. Okay, so I'm just going to turn this, pick another green, and that was working quite well with the brush. So we'll just continue on using the blending brush. But like I said, you know, just to show you, you can use a finger dauber and it will get in there and do just a nice job as well. This is a bigger tool. So it may go a little faster for us. And so what I want to do here is just kind of build up some layers of color. If you hold on to your stencil, you can, of course, lift it up and see how you're doing. And go a totally different direction here. And let's bring in this. Ooh, this one isn't even open yet. Let's see if I can find the plastic. There we go. All right, so I got it open. Brand spanking new. Ooh, dig low. All right, so I'm liking how this kind of section here is built up, so I'm going to cut down my tag from here, and then we will come back and do some more work on the tag. So before I moved on, I wanted to add another layer of stencil. I forgot. This also comes in the pack, this circular one, and I'm using this Gelatos in an iced chai color, and I thought this would be really sweet to add just a little bit of glimmer. Now I can add more color if I need, but I think just this one little application is probably going to be enough because I want it to be subtle. Yeah, we've got nice kind of shiny, they're kind of shiny dots, all right? So we could have done that in any color. I just happen to like that chai color. I have the tag cut down, and I want to add a little bit of blending down here at the bottom. So I'm going to take my dark green and put it on my glass mat. And then I'm going to take my brush, pick that up, and bring it in to the bottom edge of my tag. So that gives a really nice little shadow there at the bottom. I can go in and add a little bit more, a few other places. If I want to kind of coordinate that, I can lightly blend it up so we get kind of a gradation happening down here at the bottom. I'm just brushing real light, just super light along the bottom here to kind of bring that color up into the tag. All right. So I have brought in my stamping platform from Sizzix, and I've put my tag down. Now this is a sticky background, and if I were to stamp the stamps just the way that they are, it's going to get ink on the background. Now the sticky grid is replaceable, but I just put down some scrap copy paper, and that's going to protect the edges. Now, because of my camera placement and the way that the hinge works, I'm going to have to move this off camera for a second to pick up my stamps. And so you just press down, and then you can see that the stamps are now attached, and that way I can stamp it as many times as I need to get the coverage that I want. So I'm going to go in with some black ink, and sorry for the back and forth, but I don't want to bonk the camera, and I want you in close enough so you can see what's going on here. So I'm now off camera just inking up the stamps with some black ink, and this is the first time I've used the stamps, so it may need, you know, more than one go. All right, so there we have it, and then I'm just going to push down and take a look. Now sometimes I will bring in a dry eraser. But this is stamping pretty darn well with just one go on there. Even the text, and you know, it's in French, so I don't really care if we can read it or not, but I love the look of that eye up there. That's looking really nice. So just one application, and I think that is good. I did grab some ink in granite in case I wanted to add a little bit more texture to the stamp, and I don't know. Let's see what that's going to look like off to the side here. So, I mean, that's another nice reason to have the paper here. Now, this is a stamp I got from a workshop with Simon Hurley. What he did is he just cut the stamps in half, so we all had some of this kind of textured. So if I stamp it off a little bit, a few times, then we're going to get a grayer image. And I like that better because it's just giving us a little texture there. Let me stamp off and then bring that in. And I think not too much more because it's going to end up making it look muddy. So I'm going to go ahead and lift this up. I'll just leave the papers on there for the next use. And forgot to take my stamps off. I'll give those a clean with a baby wipe. See which one is wet here. There we go. Alright, so I cleaned off my platform. You can clean off the stamps later. But let's just now take our graphite and go around the edge. And there, we're done. Now, if I wanted to, I could hit it with some spray fix just to make sure that it doesn't smush any of the gelato background. But there you have it. I hope you enjoyed watching the tutorial for this.